The service revolver model 1873 Camelot Delvin was the first double-action revolver used by the French army. It was produced by Manufacture d'Armes de Saint-Étienne from 1873 to 1887 in about 337,000 copies. Although replaced by the Modèle 1892 revolver, it was nevertheless widely used during the First World War, and issued to reserve units in 1940. The resistance made widespread use of it during the occupation. The Model 1874, of which 35,000 were made, was an officer version. It differs from Model 1873 by a lighter structure and a darker finish. Many civilians' copies were made in France and Belgium. Both the 1873 and the 1874 use a 11 mm cartridge which proved to have an insufficient velocity. The weapons themselves were very reliable and resistant. A Navy version was also produced. A more powerful cartridge was produced for this version, but production ceased and they turned to the regular ammunition when the stocks were depleted. Overview. The Franco-Prussian War in 1870 clearly demonstrated the need for up-to-date equipment in wartime. A great military tradition and esprit de corps can be defeated by superior training, and in the case of that war, artillery. After the war, both Germany and France continued to improve their military technology. However, neither side was convinced of the importance of pistols for field officers. The sword continued to be the symbol of authority for an officer on the battlefield all the way into World War I. European general staffs at that time were extremely conservative and pistols were sometimes grudgingly adopted as personal defense weapons with no practical offensive use. Even as pistols became more of a symbol of the officer, most preferred to privately purchase a smaller and more comfortable handgun instead of using a large standard-issue revolver. The Camelot Delvin 11 mm Modèle 1873 was adopted by the French Army as a service revolver for non-commissioned officers. The Modèle 1874 revolver d'officier was the version issued to officers. The differences between the two models included the following: the 1873 was finished in the white, whereas the 1874 had a fluted cylinder and a blued finish. The 1873 and 1874 were the first centerfire cartridge revolvers adopted by the French Army. They had solid frame, side ejection, double-action mechanisms. The pistols were manufactured by the Saint-Étienne Armory, which still continues to manufacture fine sporting arms. The design of the Camelot Delvin revolvers became so popular that versions were adopted by the Belgian in 1871, Italian, and 1872 in Switzerland with the Model 1872 revolver. The caliber of these French pistols was 11x 17.8 mmr. The French round was actually 0.47 mm larger than its German counterpart. The German round could be loaded and used in the French pistol, but French rounds would not chamber in the German pistol. The cartridge had a pointed lead bullet weighing 11 grams. The case length was 17.8 mm, which was rather on the short side. Reloading this cartridge could take some patience due to the shortness of the case. Military specifications called for black powder loads, replaced by a mild smokeless powder in the early 20th century. Standard muzzle velocity was around 550 feet per second. The cylinder had a side-loading gate which pulled straight to the rear. The sight picture was a ball and V-type and is easy to align. It could be difficult to stay on target double action due to the stiffness of the action. There was certainly no danger of accidentally pulling the trigger double action. Cleaning and disassembly were easy as the cylinder pin doubled as a screwdriver and all-purpose tool. Internal parts were finely machined and finished. The trigger, hammer, and several of the internal springs were straw-finished, a type of case-hardening hot oil finish. The French pistols began their service with the French Army in the late 19th century and saw service all over the globe in French colonies. Many saw service in World War I when European armies finally realized how important pistols were in the trenches. The Camelot Delvin finally ended its venerable service as a police sidearm in World War II. Features: Army Model 73. Length, 240 mm. Barrel length, 115 mm. Weight, empty 1.04 kg. Cylinder, 6 cartridges. Ammunition, 11 mm MLE 1873, 11x17 mmR. Rifling, 4 right-hand grooves. Operation, DA/SA. Army Model 74. Length, 240 mm. Barrel length, 110 mm. Weight, empty 1.08 kg. Cylinder, 6 cartridges. Ammunition, 11 mm MLE 1873, 11x17 mmR. Rifling, 4 right-hand grooves. Operation, DA/SA. Muzzle velocity, 600 feet/sec. Usage. Model 1873 was issued to the French Army, the French Navy, the National Gendarmerie, and the French National Police until 1962. It was also in use with Banque de France, the French Forces of the Interior, and the National Forests Office. The MOS 1873 served from the early days of the French Third Republic, and the conquest of its empire, up to the Great War and the Second World War. Military users: Belgium, France, French Army, French Navy, Greece, Italy, Monaco, Compagnie des Carabiniers du Prince, Corps des Sapeurs-Pompiers de Monaco. Type: service revolver. Place of origin: France/Belgium. Service history: in service 1873–1945. Used by sea users. Wars: French colonial conflicts. Monégasque Revolution. First World War. Second World War. Production history. Designer: Henri Gustave Delvin. J. Chamelot. Manufacturer: Manufacture d'Armes de Saint-Étienne. Produced 1873–1887. No built 337,000. Variants: MOS 1874. Specifications: weight 1.04 kg. Length 240 mm. Barrel length 115 mm. Cartridge 11 mm MLE 1873, 12 mm Le Fauchier, Navy models. Caliber 11 mm. Action: double action revolver. Rate of fire 20-30 rounds/minute. Effective firing range 50 meters. Maximum firing range 300 meters. Feed system: 6-round cylinder. Sights: fixed front blade and rear notch.
Please subscribe and thanks for watching.